So hello and a warm welcome to our weekly show, Love Athletics. In this program, we bring you the latest highlights from our sport with expert input from different continental areas. Our guests today with updates from the US trials and from the Arab Championships are Javier Clavelo and Cristel Sane. Welcome, Cristel. Welcome, Javier.
Hi, Anna.
Hi, Anna. Thank you so much for having us.
It's always a pleasure to see you guys. So we had some exciting action this week. The Arab Championships concluded on the weekend. Kenyan Olympic trials also concluded in Nairobi. US Olympic trials are underway. There were two really good meetings, World Athletics Continental Silver in Madrid and in the Kuzoczynski Memorial in Chorzów. So we'll listen to the reports from the US trials and from the Arab Championships. But I wanted to ask you, what were your highlights of the week? And I'm going to start. So for me, two really things which I thought were quite exceptional. World record, obviously, Ryan Crouser, 23:37 meters, an improvement of 27 centimeters over the previous record by Randy Barnes, which had been set way back in 1990, 2 years before Crouser was even born. The record is not really a surprise. Crouser now has 5 of the best 6 marks of the season, including a huge 22.92 in qualifying in Eugene. And he also has 5 of the top 10 all-time bests. So it was kind of, you could see it coming, but really an excellent performance by Ryan Crouser. And from the Kenyan trials, what I thought was really amazing was 10,000 meters, 27:01:06 by Jeffrey Kamworor, which is already impressive, but even more if you consider that the altitude in Nairobi is 1,795 meters. So not easy to compete over 10,000. His fastest, this was his fastest results since 2017. And the performance must taste even sweeter because he had a really rough year, including a motorbike accident. So Kamworor, who is 3 times world half marathon champion, 3 times world cross champion, including 1 medal in the junior race, does not yet have a gold on track at the World Championships or at the Olympics. He was silver in Beijing in 2005. So maybe given his form, we could see something interesting from Kamworor, even on the track in Tokyo, to show even more what a versatile athlete he is. So, Cristel, your favorites.
Thank you, Anna, for having us. Actually, the Arab Championship this time was a very high level because everyone was trying to qualify to the Olympics, and knowing that the African Championship and the Asian Championships were cancelled this year, and especially in the men's, because there is a difference in the level between men and women, especially in the Arab region. Maybe the highlight would be the qualifiers, people who were able to make the direct cut to Tokyo. I already mentioned them in the report, but I think we had familiar faces already, but also new faces, especially from Bahrain. We have Sadiq Mikhov from Bahrain, who ran the 1500. It was a very tough race because the first and second both did the qualification standards, running. The second was Abdelatif Sadiki from Morocco. So Micho ran 3 minutes 33:81, and it's also a championship record. And Abdelatif Sadiki from Morocco ran 3:35:54. So this was like a very tough race between both athletes. And from the women's, I'm gonna name the only athlete who qualified from the Arab athletes, and it's Dana Abdulrazak Hussein. She won both the 100 and 200. She dropped her times from 11:84 to 11:24 on the 100. and from 24:02 to 22:51 on the 200. So she made the direct cut in the 200. The qualification standards is 22:80, and it's also a championship record for the event.
Thank you, Christelle. One thing I noticed in the Arab Championships, it seems to me that there were some countries medaling which had never medaled. For example, Egypt had good throwers, as is their tradition, but they had never
Yes,
medaled in
always.
sprints or in hurdles. So this is something new. There's a development in the Arab countries.
Yes, Egypt is known to be, especially in the Arab Championship, the North African countries are the best, if we would like to say. In the West Asian, then it's a different scenario, because like when these countries are not competing, it's different, knowing that it's the same Arab countries who also compete in the West Asian. So Egypt already has they were like 31 athletes competing, so they compete in numbers and not only they select their best athletes and send them, so yeah, they were able to win medals in different events. And also we should note that most of the qualified athletes, especially from Bahrain, didn't come to the Arab Championship. So most of them were the people who weren't able to qualify, because the ones who already have a higher level would miss this championship to focus more maybe on training or other international competitions. But when you say about Egypt, we have Libya's first medal. I also mentioned it in the recap, in the discus throw, women's discus throw. So yeah, it was like the first time. It's always we have countries who compete in numbers, like Egypt, Tunisia. It's the host country this time, but they always compete in numbers. Qatar always compete in numbers. Algeria. For us, it's always depending on the financial situation and this stuff, but yeah, especially the North African countries.
Javier, how about you? Your highlights of the week.
Well, Anna, we'll get more in detail about in the report, but I was watching the broadcast. I was impressive to see Allyson Felix qualifying for her fifth Olympics, running an impressive time of 50:02, and joining the fellow mom Quanira Hayes, the winner, who's also going to the Olympics with an impressive time of 49:78. Do you see Hayes' son and Felix' daughter kind of, hugging each other? It was really emotional to see that, and more importantly, what it takes for these two ladies to really find the encouragement and have that motivation to really bring that joy to the family. Allyson has nothing to prove in athletics. He's the most decorated athlete, but even with a difficult pregnancy and childhood for her daughter, we saw her at the World Championships in Doha as part of the mixed relay team member, winning gold, and now also qualifying for their individual event. It was really impressive seeing that live. Also, Kenny Harrison, I mean, there was no question of how a brilliant form she's in for the world record holder in the 100-meter hurdles, but we know how tricky these trials can be. If you do not finish top three, there's no that's basically what it takes to book a trip to the Olympics. We've seen it time and time again. Great athletes that failed that day going through the rounds, especially in the hurdles. Anything can happen. And but Kenny redeemed herself from a sixth place 5 years ago. Again, 2 weeks after those trials, she broke the now world record at 12:20, and so she really cried and she was really emotional when securing that title at 12:47. And also, again, no surprise, but you see how Trayvon Bromell redeeming himself, already an Olympic finalist 5 years ago, a World Championships medalist as well, but more importantly, coming back from a litany of injuries. and proving himself the person, the man to beat for Tokyo and at the 100 meters, and of course even a quarter miler, Fred Kerley, finishing or rounding up the top three. Even a 989 was not sufficient to make the U.S. team individually for the Olympics. But again, a great caliber of athletics. No surprises. I would say the disappointment, of course, Donovan Brazier couldn't quite deliver with 150 meters to go. And the world champion and American record holder in the 800 meters couldn't really finish top three. And again, how tough these championships are. There's no way to go around it, and that will be the most difficult disappointment. A couple of world leads as well to highlight here by Olympic bronze medalists in that race, actually, the 800 meters by Clayton Murphy at 1:43.17, and of course, still in the prelims, Gabby Thomas at 21:80.98, again becoming the first woman to go under 22 seconds. But again, one thing to note as we actually approaching the end of these championships is that obviously there's a heat wave in that part of the United States. Eugene hosting the World Championships next year, and to a point that some of the distance races have moved to an earlier time in the morning. Primarily the men's 5,000 meters and the women's 10,000 to allow for more. I would say for cooler temperatures in that part of the United States. Again, a lot more to come. Whether Noah Lyles can also, that's a question mark. He can qualify in his specialty event, the 200 meters, remains to be seen. He finished 7th at the 100, and again, Justin Gatlin kind of closing an era. He had a hamstring in the semifinals, pull up, but he still wanted to finish. Again, we talk about the 2004 Olympic champion, and he's really wanted to give it another go at these Olympics, but not to be this time for Gatlin. So that's in a nutshell. Again, what has happened at the, of course, Ryan Krause with the world record, and as you mentioned, and there was another American record in the hammer throw already that makes him a medal contender in the men's hammer, Rudy Winkler. There's a lot of good action as well in the field events, and we expect a lot more in the few days before the championships wrap up on Sunday, June the 27th.
Thank you very much, Javier. Yes, seeing world champion Donovan Brazier finishing 8th and unable to qualify was a huge surprise. There were also a few upsets in Nairobi. World 1,500 meter champion Timothy Cheruiyot was only 4th, so he was out. He had a hamstring strain in the last 20 meters. At 10,000, Ronix Kipruto, 219 World Championships bronze medalist, dropped out with 5 laps to go. And another big name out is Conseslus Kipruto, a non-finisher in the steeplechase, which he had almost dominated for several seasons. Also, 5,000 meter Olympic winner in Rio, Vivian Cheruiyot, is out. So a few big names did not manage to qualify. On the other hand, the always present, always regular, and always medaling Helen Obiri was qualified in both the 5 and the 10,000 meters. Another result that I really was happy to see from the Madrid meeting, again, another great performance by Yulimar Rojas, but the return of Wade van Niekerk with 44.56, Olympic standard, back after his injury playing celebrity rugby. It wasn't enough to win the race because Colombian Anthony Zambrano was more powerful and ended in 44.51. But it's good to see Wade van Niekerk back and on the way to recover his position in world athletics.
And I'm pretty sure that that will be a very exciting 400-meter race. His title defense in from Rio, and of course, a lot of great players, American quarter milers will be there, including Mike Norman as the U.S. champion. Of course, Zambrano, the the silver medalist from Doha. Currently opted for the 100, so it's going to be very wide open, and of course. Stephen Gordon is the current world champion from the Bahamas. Exciting times, and I think Van Niekerk will be on course to be a top form. Maybe not a world record form from Rio, but certainly be a serious contender if he's able to really work about his endurance during the second half of the race. I'm pretty sure that he will certainly be in the mix for those medals, together with the other names, and as I mentioned, and of course, Kirani James from Grenada, not to be discounted, to the 2012 Olympic champion.
Also good to see Isaac Makwala back with his best time since 2018 with 44.47. So another very, very talented athlete to watch.
There is an athlete in the Arab region that I haven't highlighted yet. His name is Yasser Triki, so he trains in the US, and he did the direct qualification on the triple jump, jumping 17.26. He was 1 meter ahead of the other competitors. It was also like a championship record. And he also won the long jump. He doubled in both and won the long jump with 7.96. So he's still young, and I think triple jump is his favorite event, and I think he will be to watch also, especially that he crossed the 17 meters mark.
Mm-hmm.
From Algeria.
And I know one thing that I like to say also, there's action also in the Western Hemisphere with the Jamaican trials. I mean, to be concluded on the 27th. And again, a reminder that the Olympic qualification ends June the 29th. That there's a lot of pressure for some of those athletes who already have the qualification. Of course, the pressure to finish top three to be able to secure a spot among these great athletics powerhouses, including the US and Jamaica. There's also the Canadian trials too. Some of these athletes, there's no obligation for the Canadian trials, primarily considering the travel restrictions and COVID protocols for some of the top athletes, including Florida-based Andre DeGrasse, to come back to Canada to quarantine and compete at the Canadian Championship. Some, like Damian Werner, who came just within 5 points of becoming the fourth man over the 9,000 point barrier in the decathlon. He will be competing in the long jump, where he set a Canadian record at Godzis at 8:28, and of course he will also be competing in one of his specialty events, the 110-meter hurdles. That will be a championship to watch as well, with the 2015 world silver medalist Melissa Bishop Ngriagu in the 800 meters. And again, the qualifications will differ. Again, with this time around, the obligation to compete at the national championships has been removed. So a lot of these athletes, Canadian athletes, will remain south of the border, having already secured the qualifications standard. So that will be, of course, another championship to watch. And again, going to Jamaica, the sprinting is going to be an exciting piece. Shericka Jackson, a 400-meter specialist, improving a massive PB in the 100 meters with 10:91. But of course, we have Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce as that impresses 10:63, and she'll certainly be in the mix with defending Olympic champion Thompson. So it's going to be an exciting weekend of athletics in Jamaica and in Canada. Of course, the remaining part of the competition of the Olympic trials in the US.
Exactly. Thank you, Javier. So coming up, continuing the US trials, coming up over the weekend, a lot of national championships and trials, including Mega Powers Jamaica British trials, which include a special race with strong athletes from abroad to try and help Mo Farah set the qualifying standard. Many other European countries are holding national championships over the next weekend. We also have Balkan Championships, the Irena Shevchinska Memorial in Bydgoszcz. And of course, at the very beginning of July, we start again with the Diamond League. with the Bislett Games in Oslo on July 1st and the Stockholm Diamond League on the 4th of July.
If I can add also on the US Olympic trials, Ashley Kovacs, actually the wife of Joe Kovacs, has now 2 athletes qualifying in the shot put for the Olympics. So not so this is nice to add as well.
Excellent point, Christelle. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. There's another obviously emotional piece of the Olympic trials. Olympic champion Brianna McNeil in the 100 hurdles. She lost a brother to a car accident recently, so there was very emotional qualification for her. She was really in tears. They're really dedicating that qualification in case she finished second for Brianna McNeil in the 100-meter hurdles. And you will see really an emergence of Valerie Ullman with very close to the 70-meter mark in the discus throw at 69.92, and Jessica Ramsey establishing a mid record. And we rarely see a woman going over 20 meters in the shot put, so she's now sitting second in the world rankings. Raven Saunders also with a mid record that only lasted a few minutes at 19.96. So I'll see that the US also really wants to be a factor in some of the throwing events. We know that they have always been in certain events. They've been always featured primarily in obviously in the jumps, but I think this is a very exciting development for the United States and predominantly women that will certainly have really will hope to factor when it matters most. Just a few weeks from now, I suspect that we're now under 4 weeks before the Olympics start. Again, with the athletics competition coming later in the games.
Thank you, Javier. I have some 2 cool pieces of news from outside the stadia. The first, Usain Bolt announced on Instagram the arrival of his twin boys with partner Casey Bennett. So the twins are called Saint Leo Bolt and the wonderful Thunderbolt. And the other really cool news is that documentary following Eliud Kipchoge's Ineos 159 challenge is going to be released in August, produced by Academy Award nominee Ridley Scott. And Eliud Kipchoge was confirmed on the Kenyan team for the Olympic Games in Tokyo, where he will try to defend his title.
I'm really looking forward to that documentary, and I watched that race. Again, it's 6 hours. We're 6 hours behind when that feat was accomplished, and I believe October 12th, if my memory serves me well. And I was impressed to see that live, and of course, a reflection of Eliud Kipchoge's career, and more importantly, that determination that human beings can set out to accomplish whatever if they really set their minds to it. I think it's going to be very inspiring, Anna and Christelle, for many human beings, whether they're runners or not, to really watch Eliud's progression and determination and focus to achieve what he just, what we many of us thought, myself included, almost inachievable feat, where he broke by even, I believe, by more than half a minute. So impressive. Looking forward to that documentary. That could well be my birthday treat, because as I learned, it's an August release.
August 15th, or if it's, but yes, we consider it a birthday treat for you.
There you go. Thank you.
There's not a lot of athletes who get such high-profile documentaries. I only remember Haile Gebrselassie. Then, of course, there was a film, but it wasn't a documentary about Steve Prefontaine. But I don't remember a lot of athletes having such a high-profile documentary produced about their career. So congratulations to Haile, and congratulations to Eliud, who is now joining him in this very small circle.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So thank you very, very much, Christelle. Thank you, Javier. It was lovely
Thank you, Anna.
to have you on the show and to exchange thoughts and ideas. And I hope to see you on one of our next shows soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you, Anna, for the opportunity, and looking forward to connecting again very soon. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, and see you next week on Love Athletics. Thank you all.